Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So today I'm kind of piggyback what Karen Foley did yesterday. I don't know how much we have done yesterday, but she is our Medicare specialist from the court office. As what Lori mentioned, that she will be coming in next month, so we're gearing up for that. So I would encourage you all that if you have people that you know or your previous client, that we can bring them in for that period of time that she is here. We're gonna start next week, starting Monday, booking her calendar and marks her calendar. Okay, so today I'm gonna go through where the application of the long-term care. So if you have been with us for a while, you should already have your long-term care certification. And if you're not, then you can get your long-term care certification. You have an initial of 8 hours. Yes?
I'm sorry to interrupt, Daisy, but I just have a slight curiosity. This is what we have to do every 2 years or every 1 year?
Every 2 years, 4 hours, every 2 years. But your initial is 8 hours. Okay, it's not that hard, but it's good to have because most of our product now has a rider for long-term care. Even life insurance have rider for long-term care. Even annuities have that rider there, and they're gonna ask you whether you are certified for long-term care. So don't panic right away. Oh, I need to get this now. It takes time. Take it easy. You're gonna get there, but it's good to already have the idea of what you can do with this type of solution. So if you are in your dashboard, okay, in your dashboard, you go to long-term care. You click long-term care. All right, under long-term care, you go down, way down below.
Hold on, Daisy.
Okay.
Turn it slow. Dashboard. I gotta get back into the routine of things. Just the dashboard itself, Daisy?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did I hit that again? It seems like I did not click the long-term care.
Oh, you
Might be
mean
live
right there,
and
under
final
life and
expense
financial
again.
expense?
Yeah. All right, here it is.
Okay.
And also, under the Bankers Life Resources, if you look at that, everything you needed, just like this one here, if you have this, most of us that has been in here for a while, we have this clipboard, okay? We have this,
And I have some here if we want to create your own.
yeah.
Okay.
So here with this clipboard, all this information I have, you don't have to worry thinking, oh my God, where that? It's all in our resources. Everything are all there. So this I already like print this out because these are the knock-off question when you want to enroll somebody into a long-term care. Okay, familiarize all this question, and sometimes this question will come out from your conversation, and you do not need to ask your client if you already that kind. Again, you just have to pay attention with what your client says, okay? And this is also what are the 10 reasons why people really need long-term care. Those are just some of the few. So those are also in our resources. These are in our resources through in a Banker's Life, okay? But this is how we set up our flip chart. And our flip chart also have a script behind it. So when you're facing with your client, okay, you're facing with your client, you're talking about that, you have the script behind you. So in case you forget what to say, you have that, you see? You have the script behind you, all right? So here, when you talk about this, of course, you're going to have, I have my script is all lined up, I have color coding things, so while I'm showing this, I'm preparing the presentation, letting the client know what Bankers Life, the history of Bankers Life, everything will die, you don't have to worry because it's all there behind you.
Mhm.
It's right in front of you, okay? We have that script, all right? And then you move on. I can show you this later on. Of course, I've not updated that. We're in 2026, maybe 2027 now for Medicare and all this information. See, this is very powerful to show to your client because this is based on real statistic. That most of us, most people really do not think of taking of themselves. They really do not think of the cost of caring for themselves and what's the cost of that. So again, you have your own script behind you, okay? The same thing here, and this is another powerful presentation. I think you should seen this with Lori's PowerPoint, and I just make my own, okay? It's very, very visual where client can see, yeah, they can attest that because they all have home insurance, they all have car insurance, so they can relate that conversation with you, all right? But how many of them have long-term care coverage? Really none, maybe few, okay? But the need of long-term care is huge. So people think that long-term care is only for those old age people, not really. Even as young as 20 years old can be in long-term care. We have to emphasize that because this is not for just people that retired. No, it's not. For people that cannot take care of themselves. Okay, so that's very powerful. And again, you go through with this, what does long-term care cover and stuff, home care, adult daycare, a facility, nursing home, you go through that, and of course, you have your script. Okay, you're not gonna get lost because you have a script. Yes, sir.
Now, just to add to what you're saying, remember the powerful thing about Medicare, not
Correct.
paying it. So, for newbies and stuff like that, because sometimes they go in thinking Medicare is just gonna cover it, like I thought when I first started, but Medicare doesn't cover long-term care. So.
Yeah,
once-
it's a very good way to tie it.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the point.
You're hired, Leslie.
Yeah, you're right, Leslie.
Just kidding.
Laura, you're funny. I'm just part of the team.
I know.
Okay, all right, so let's go through here, and the same thing, all this print here, they are all in our resources tool and our portal. Everything is there. You can read through it, of course, I have my little flower when I go towards the end, but that's pretty much, your presentation there with your client. So now, after you do that, while you're doing the presentation, now you're gonna have to go through your tools. Where you're gonna find this, where you're gonna get a code for your, if the client says, okay, I want to, after you do your presentation, oh, by the way, before I go to that, what will be a question that you will ask, considering that you're sitting with your client, okay? What will be the question to ask without even asking, do you have a long-term care? What will be a proving question? I made my own question, okay? But I want to ask you before I'm gonna show you those proving questions that without even asking, do you have a long-term care in place? I said, why do I need a long-term care? I'm healthy, right?
Check
I
on
don't
your
need that.
cards. Say, bring out your cards.
So bring out your long-term.
No, just see what do you have in place now?
Kind of covered.
Okay, that's a good question. What do you have in place to cover long-term care? But I don't wanna use the word long-term care.
Oh, she
That's
wants
the
to-
point.
she wants to-
What proving question you're going to ask without using the word long-term care? Because when we say long-term care, the tendency, it's a psychology, okay? It's a mental psychology. People would like, oh yeah, that's very expensive. No, and you know what's the tendency? They're gonna back off. They're gonna shut you right away. I have everything in place. Even they don't. But when we deal those type of product, we have to be emotional. We have to level that and dig it into their emotional level, okay? Because they don't realize that. They don't realize the importance of having one. Yes, Leslie?
No, I was just gonna tie in what question would you ask them. I mean, it all depends. You know, like if they're well off and stuff like that, I'll just ask them, hey, what would happen if you end up in the hospital? And, you know, you end up in a skilled facility and, you know, things get a little bit, you know, financially heavy for you.
Good morning.
If you
Morning,
ask, if
Clifford.
you ask help from the state, will you be able to still incur that? Because they're gonna ask that you do what is required to spend down.
Right.
And then I'll explain that to them and explain how they can, you know, protect themselves. And another thing too is what would you do if you end up in the hospital and no longer can afford to pay for it? What would you do? Those are the two.
Yeah, those are very good
Yeah.
questions.
Mhm.
Anybody else want to add to that? No? Okay. So here, yeah, yes.
They got long-term care. Does it cover like while they're in the hospital, like while they're in the hospital? Say they're in the hospital and they have a job or they have their own business. Does it cover their bills or?
That's it. If they have a job, they have a business, and they end up in the hospital, well, that is covered by their health insurance if they have a health insurance. Also, generally, health insurance cover your skilled nursing care, your rehabilitation after the hospitalization within 20 days period time. What if that person will not recover after 20 days? So that's when the problems start to come in. It's okay, if you're rich, you can go to Cayman Island and get well there. But if you're not, just like us ordinary people that just have a regular insurance and we cannot recover, so what you gonna do? If you want to survive, if your family want to keep you alive, they have to sell everything possible they have, right? And as we heard this already, the cost of long-term care or the cost of health care can make you bankrupt. That's just a reality. If your family love you so dearly, they want you to still be around, they will do everything they can possible to keep you alive. Right? Would that be fair for them? No, because you have nothing in place. Again, the key that you have to impart that to your client is preparation. Preparation is the key. So here are some of the probing questions that I did and just want to share that with you. Okay. So one of the questions is, have you considered what the cost of care in life? During your conversation with your client, hey, Mr. P, have you considered, after we discuss about the Medicare, or after we discuss covering you for this, you know, we have taken care of that, have you considered the cost of care later in life? Because we don't think that, right? Most of us think of what is now and what is tomorrow, and sometimes we don't even think about now, we always worry about tomorrow that's not even come. So that trigger there, and he's still thinking, oh yeah, that's right. And then yes, how would you feel if your family member had to become your caregiver? Some people don't want that. They want their privacy. They don't want their family. I'm just giving you an example with my in-laws. I love to take care of my father-in-law at the time when he could not take care of himself, although my mother-in-law is still there. But my mother-in-law is very adamant, no, nobody can take care of him other than me. No one is gonna see him change his diaper whatsoever. Right?
Right?
So you have that. Would you want your children to see you at that stage, bare naked, and they have to change your diaper?
At that point, checkout time.
Is that? So how would you feel that? Have you thought of that? So that's what the thing, that should be the conversation you're gonna put into that table when you have that. You don't need, yeah, we do all this Medicare, but every conversation you have, because we owe it to our client. We owe it to them, for them to know that it's not too late to prepare now. Okay? Another question, would you rather use your entire savings for the cost of the care when you no longer can take care of you? Or would you rather transfer that risk? And then they're gonna start thinking, oh yeah, what was this, where do I transfer the risk? Who's gonna take my risk? That's when that come in, that conversation. Okay? So again, in every conversation, words matter. Really, words matter. Okay? Because they're not gonna be like, no one wants to be asked directly, hey, that based on the script that we're doing, whatever the script that you have, you want to make it so personable that your client can relate to you. As I always said, you have to become a chameleon. You know what chameleon do?
Change colors.
Just.
Right. You have to adapt. You have to adapt, chameleon adapt to its environment. So you have to adapt in the setting on where you're at. Okay, so next question. What would protection your independence means to you? Because people don't want that taken away from them because of our pride and ego, right? Because of it's a human nature. Ego and pride is human nature. And if that's taken away from you, what's gonna happen? That person's gonna be in limbo, right? So you wanna ask that, what would it mean to you when the freedom of privacy is taken away from you? Because by that time, you don't have a choice anymore. Because you cannot take care of yourself. What choice do you have? Right? So even now, you can start thinking now for yourself. With this question that I asked, I hope in some point you put that to yourself, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm healthy right now, sitting here. What if something happened to me in the next few hours? Because nobody is guaranteed. Life is not guaranteed. You might be walking around so sexy and all that, sexy and you know it, but I'm sexy, I'm so sexy and you know it like this. If something happened to you on the road, what's gonna happen? And you're gonna take care of yourself. What do you have that? It will be a shame if you're the one offering this type of product and you don't have anything in place for yourself. Right? Okay, just something to think about. So those are some probing questions that I would like to share with you. If you want, I can print this one for you and give you that. Practice it. And what I do, you may think that I'm kind of crazy, but I sometimes stand and I keep repeating and saying it over and over again until it becomes me. Until it becomes so natural to me when I say it. Because if you're just like, oh yeah, and you're just reading the script and saying it in your own with entire conviction is totally different thing. And the impact can change a lot. Okay, if I just say, hey, Mr. Smith, would you rather use your entire saving for the cost of your care when you're no longer able to care for yourself, or transfer that risk compared to Mr. Smith? Would you rather use your entire savings for the cost of your care when you're no longer able to take care of yourself? Or would you prefer to transfer that risk? It's different, right? It's different impact. So I suggest to repeat it over and over again until it becomes you. All right, let's go back to where we're going. Any questions so far for that part? Any question? Okay. All right. So now we can go here. as you all know, and if you're familiar with Sabrus, this is also where we go to quote for life insurance, term insurance, but for long-term care specifically, you have to go to electronic application. You're not doing application yet, but that's where you go for long-term care quoting. So when you click that, it gives you two screen there, new case, and of course, yeah, I have to log in. Alright, so give you start a new case or view your existing case. So if you already have, if I go to view your existing case, all the cases that you have done, that right and all that, it's all there, okay? Those are some cases that I've done and submitted. I have 7 pages there. And now let's say you want to start with a new case. So start a new case, and this is where you're going to get your code. Let's say, for example, John, I don't know why I like John Smith. Let's say John's birthday is 10/10, let's just say 10/10/1980. Okay, very young. That's not on Medicare yet, right? So John is 45 years old. Because with Medicare, with long-term care, we can write from the age 40 up. Okay, if you have somebody that is in like 30-something, 20-something, steer them to get a life insurance that have that rider. But straight up long-term care has to be 40 years old and above. So 40, let's say John is a male, and okay, state of Florida. All right. See all that there? There's so many different products, long-term care, whole life, survival, all the product we offer. But you click the LTC, the very first one on the top. Say LTCF. And then just click find the product. And only one product that shows there, only Bankers Life. There's nothing else. And then you select code and illustration. Slow. All right. So this is what you're going to see. You can add here. You can also add an illustration for wife or spouse or husband. So you can click that there if you wanted a join. But normally I don't do that. I do that as an individual application for the reason that it's beneficial for you. It's also beneficial for the client, and that way if there's claim that, it's easier because they have an individual policy, and it's good for you because you have now 2 sales instead of 1, okay? That's why we call you work smarter, not harder, okay? So let's say, for example, John live in 34986 zip code. So here, you have this maximum, let's say John, this is the maximum amount that he wants to be covered. So he can design it depending on his affordability. If he can only afford $100 per day, so be it, give it. Because after 3 years, Bankers Life, we're gonna call him and say, hey, Mr. Smith, would you like to update your coverage without any more medical underwriting? Okay, maybe in 3 years, John will be a guru and become rich and want to increase the long-term care coverage. Then that's your opportunity to go back to John. See, that is your future business going on there. So every 3 years, Bankers Life call, hey, do you want to update? Do you want to increase? Without any more worry whether he's gonna get approved or not. So what if John gets sick or have some kind of medication during that 3-year period? So that's not gonna matter no more because this plan is already in place. Okay? 3 years that he can still increase this plan. So you can decide, so how much do you want to be covered? Of course, considering that you already did all the presentation about the cost of long-term care in a facility. This is presuming you did all of that, okay? Oh, that this is the cost now, 6,000 per month, home care and all that stuff. And still John says, I just want maybe 200 per day coverage. I just want 200. So 200 at 6,000 per month, right? So say 200. So that is the cost that will be covered per day, and the multiplier is the number of days. Okay, don't confuse that. The multiplier is the number of days that he can avail on this plan. Okay, let's say the multiplier is between 180 to 50 up to 730 days. This is days. Okay, 365 days is what? 1 year, right? So let's just say you want to be covered for 1 year, 365 days. Would that be consistent? You're gonna say, oh, so that means after 1 year I'm done? Oh no, Mr. John, or Mr. Smith. No, because you can turn this on and off. Let's say you only need this for 30 days. You can utilize this for 30 days and then turn it off. And then maybe the next year or so, you're gonna need it for another 20 days. They'll have somebody to come here and take care of you. You can turn it on again. So your 360 days can go a long, long way. Okay? So you're gonna have to explain that because sometimes they think, oh, 360 days, that's it? After that, let's think about the long-term care, especially when you're young, you really do not need it for that straight period of time. This is to cover when you cannot take care for that period of time for yourself. Maybe the consistency of every day, that will happen, you'll be in your 80s and your 90s. Hopefully, Mr. Smith will able to reach to that point. But then, that 3 years is his opportunity to increase that. And it's your opportunity to go back and make more business. That makes sense? Okay? All right. So you have the 360 days. Let's just say 360 days. The elimination period, that is the period of time where there is that gap. And normally, if they are in Medicare, we coincide that the elimination period where they cover from the Medicare, when the Medicare does not cover them anymore, that's when you want to make this start. Okay? So you're gonna have to know what they have, what product they have, what's in their products, so that you can continue on with this long-term care. Let's say, for example, for regular health insurance, we have like elimination period of 30 days, right? 30 days, 60 days, whatever that days. So you want to put here 15 days elimination period, 30, 90, 180 days. The longer the elimination period, the lesser the cost, okay? So just keep that in mind. The shorter the elimination period, the higher the cost of the long-term care. So let's just say 90 days elimination, that's general number for any health insurance, let's say 90 days. So he want to be covered for $200 per day. $200 per day, how many hours of care is that for somebody to come to your home? If you are a CNA, a home health care provider, let's say, for example, $25 per hour, how many hours of care is that? They can come, help this person to do the cleaning, the laundry, feed them, and doing the cooking, take them to the doctor, take them to their appointments and that. How many hours of care is that? For $25 per hour. That is 8 hours, right? So you have that 8 hours with that $200. So, and you always want to put, and you don't touch that part there that says at home care, keep that always in 100%, okay? Just don't touch that part there. This increasing option this is now the partnership. If you click say that increasing option, it has this 3% compounding, 5% compounding. So that means it grows. So it has a partnership. If he end up really in a facility and really gonna be in a worst case scenario, so there's a partnership with that with the state of Florida. So let's just not put that in for now. We'll just do the basic, let's say no increasing option. So you can also add a rider. There's 2 riders, either the non-full feature benefit rider, that means if probably cannot pay the premium, it will not forfeit a period of time, you can still keep the policy, and the return of premium. And you're gonna get this a lot. It said, oh, I'm not paying another protection again that I'm not gonna use. Well, who would know that you're not gonna use it, right? So how would we know that you're not gonna use it? How would you know that you're not gonna use this? And say, but if they want, sometimes you have these people that are so frugal that they, oh yeah, I want my money. Where's my money gonna go? And I always say this, you pay for your car insurance, right? You pay for your home insurance, right? Sometimes you pay for your home phone protection because they're very nice, a nice case, right? And what happened if you damage your phone, you lost your phone? What happened if you damage your house get run over by a tornado? When is the tornado gonna come? We don't know, right? Okay, but you have that protection. So you're paying for your home. I've been paying home insurance for how many years that the home insurance not even giving me anything because my home has no damage yet. Okay, it's the same concept. It's that you are protecting every day for something that is bound to happen that is not happening yet. If they say, oh, why do I have to waste my money? It's no waste of money. You're paying for your house insurance, your car insurance. Is that waste of money? No, right? So that's a question. So it's up to them. If they want to add that rider or not to add that rider, let's say we're not gonna add that rider, let's just calculate. Okay, well, Mr. Smith, being covered at 45 years old, you're covered for $200 per day in case something happened to you. Guess what is your monthly premium if you're gonna pay it monthly? $49.86. And that guarantee you something happened to you. And I always says, I don't use the coffee anymore because overrated. My client said to me, and that's overrated, so I no longer use the coffee. I said it's only a couple of Starbucks, so I don't use it anymore. So I always use the dining out. So how many dining out is that in a month? It's only 1 person meal. Now, and this is a month you set aside for your own self-protection. Can you give up 1 dining meal in a month? Oh yeah, I can do that. Okay, then let's go ahead, Mr. Smith. Okay, let's go, and then you go to next. Let's go ahead and put this in place. Because right now, Mr. Smith, I'm not sure whether you're gonna be approved or not. We're gonna have to send this, let's see if you'll be approved. If you'll be approved, you still have that period where you can decline if you don't like it. But let's put this in place to just give you a peace of mind. Okay? So, who's gonna say, oh no, right? So you're gonna have, and again, we keep saying this, assume the sale. You have to condition your mind that when you sit in front of the client, you assume the sale, that you assume that you're gonna close this. So that why you're gonna do everything you can possible to make it sure that your client understand it. So even before you come to this illustration, you already did your due diligence in presenting it, making your client aware what's the pro and cons and all that, so that it's not gonna bite back to you. Because the worst things that could happen is a bad customer experience. And you don't want that. Okay? So, you're gonna see this. Kathy is gonna show more of this, but right now you already have the idea. You have this information and everything. And did I cover the proposal option? Okay. So, and then you go to the application, see this? Illustration, application. When after you do the coding, let me go back. Okay, so after you do all this, and you show the client how much it costs, and you agree, you both agree, everything are all good, you go straight to the application, and once you're in the application, that's when you put in all that information. Very self-explanatory, easy to follow. Okay, so you just do that, and here is always what I do when I'm sitting in front of the client while I'm doing the application. Please keep your client engaged. Do not lose track. Continue with a conversation, and you'll be surprised. The client will say, okay, and then they're telling you stories and this and that, and then you say, we're done. I already submitted the application. How did you do that? Well, I'm just, doing this while we're talking. Keep your client engaged, because that's when you're remember that what we have there, warm up, you're warming up the whole time. Means you're getting to know your client every single bit of information, because that client will become your best friend if you did a very good service. Okay? So that's pretty much it there. I'm not gonna go through detail on that application, because that's very self-explanatory. And then when you submit, you have that. You can view the application into view the case, your existing case. And then you know that you submitted it because you get an email right away confirming it. All right? So do you have any question for me?
Where can I sign up?
I will sign you up. So I hope you get a little nuggets from that, and I hope you can take that with you as you go out there in the field and help your clients.
Nice job. Okay, guys, Kathy probably will be here these days, okay? So after the 4th of July,